Oh my gosh, Blue-Marinos, are you ready to make our latest fall wreath? I sure am. I'm gonna make it quick and easy and show you how to make it for your own home. On our base, the first thing you're gonna wanna do is kind of see what part's gonna show on the wreath, because this little section's gonna show. So rather than keeping the best part to work in, I like to keep the best part to show. So we're gonna start off with our Phoenix tail fern. And these guys come like this in little clusters of 3. And what I want you to do is shape them out. That is one of the basic little steps to start with, but it's really, really important, because without shaping it out, you don't get the full value of the pieces. All right, you will take each of these and trim them to 1-inch stems, okay? And once you do that, you get nice long pieces. And I will tell you, save the little wires that come off the bottom. These are pretty good wires to use as picks on other pieces. Not every piece is like that, but those are good. All right, so what I want you to do with these now is I've trimmed them ahead of time to get ready. We're gonna start to shape out our base, okay? So after you've kind of spread out each pick, I want you to pick a middle line and then go left and right. So each pick is nice and ready to go. I've got my electric skillet with my glue off to the side here, and I'm gonna start placing these in. In design school, we call this setting the perimeter, and although I don't do that with every project, with this one we're doing that. You'll need to get some Spanish moss. We have some on our site, or you can grab some from your local craft store. That's what I use to cover glue. It's my favorite thing to kind of get in there. It gets in there and it makes a little glue Spanish moss sandwich. So it fills in the void. Not only does it hide the glue, but it fills it in really nice and tightly. And then I don't have to take as much time to secure those items when I can put that in. Now I'm gonna come up here to the top, pop this one in. So I left a little space in between. And same thing, we're gonna put a little Spanish moss in there to hide my glue. Okay, my first 2 pieces are in. Now we're gonna come down. On every project, you have to have a transition point. So that's something I teach in design school. So once you decide that, you'll change your direction. So I'm gonna come down here to the right bottom, change my direction, and I'm gonna have this piece come up. And I've already pre-shaped these ahead of time, so we can make this fast together, but you're gonna need to do that with each piece when you put it on. And don't forget that part, because that makes a big difference in the final look. All right, I'm gonna put one here below the transition, kind of coming down, shaping it out, and I'm always pushing into the grapevine, not through to the back. I'm going with the grain or against the grain, either way, but I am not letting it come out the back. All right, and we can have this one kind of curve around, because I want a kind of a wispy C shape going on. Now, I've got a couple of pieces left that we will use as we keep working on the project, because I want to bring a little bit more of this to the foreground. So every project has layers, it has depth, it has dimension. All that really matters in your final work, so you can have a really clean look. All right, now we're ready to put in our pumpkin sprays. And they come like this. You're going to need to shape them out. I love that they have a sunflower. You can also text us if you're not on the text list already. You can text us at 832-734-5201. So I've just taken and trimmed these down. We're going to start with our first 2 pieces going in. I'm going to use these as whole sprays. That makes this go fast. And when a spray's put together so beautiful, like our products you're going to find on our website, it really will matter, because then you can produce products faster, quicker, and a little bit higher quality, just because the supplies you're using are well designed. All right, I'm coming in with moss in here to cover that glue. My first piece went in. I'm gonna have that little pumpkin come out. I'm gonna have this bend just a little, because my shape I kind of want is flowing out with the transition occurring in the middle. All right, here's my second one. I've also trimmed that one down already. And we're gonna go below the transition now. So we'll flip it and have it go the other way. Hold it like a pencil and go into your glue pot. We wanna get some glue on our stem. I got a good amount on there, and now I'm coming from the bottom. Yeah, coming from the bottom. I'm pushing that up and in, and I wanna alternate the flowers. And you can see I got a really cute center. So the center right there where the transition occurs, you know, commonly we would put bows in that zone. We could put an attachment, a sign, all that kind of stuff. We're using our florals right in there to kind of transition the flow. And it functions as the focal point to the design. All right, we've got our last piece, and what we're gonna do with it is we're gonna have it kind of come off that, but I'm gonna break it into 2 sections. So every time you get a stem, you will see that there are some just basics cutting points, and use those to your advantage. And everybody needs like a 2 or 3 inch stem when we're getting ready to put it in. So you're just going to break that into 3 pieces. So there's one. Here comes the sunflower. This has got the pumpkin part. So a lot of what you're doing is, you know, making strategic cuts to space things out in your design. And then you can make one pick go really far. So that's what I'm doing right here. We're going to take the pumpkin, and you have to decide somewhere you're going to have a double pumpkin, or you could put the pumpkin right in the middle. I'm going to spread them out a little bit. I'm going to have the pumpkin come down here at the bottom. You can design it however you want. You can make your wreath, you know, more full. You can use some of the supplies for something else and make your wreath just nice and airy, whatever you prefer. So there goes that little pumpkin there. And then I'm going to put my other little daisy at the top. Oh, these are sunflowers. I keep wanting to call them daisies. They're not. They're pretty muted sunflowers. And I'm going to come up and above, right up here, and have that one kind of tuck in. Now, we've got our fun little white berries that kind of tie in the look of what we've got going on here. Let me bring this up and get my glue string off of there. Let's kind of have it kind of pop up above the pumpkin. I think that will be fun, and this has a little bit of touch of a pretty green. And now if you can see any glue you're putting in, you're going to want to come in with some Spanish moss. If it's hidden by other layers, then you're good. You don't have to worry with it. Literally, when you get our bags of Spanish moss, they're going to last you for quite a while, because they're 1 pound bags and they have a ton in there, and you just use a little at a time, so they go a long way. Let's put this last little leaf over here on the edge so it kind of goes around and ties this in right here with a little bit of leaves. Because our other greenery we're going to use as our filler is going to add a whole bunch of fullness to the look, okay? So let me show you what we got so far. Yeah, I love it. It's basically filling up nicely, which is exactly what we want. Now, this is our filler, and it's got greenery and cream, and it's going to add this lovely softness to the whole look. So what we're going to do with this one is we're going to take, and this bush is easy to tear down, so you just take it and tear it down, rock and roll, tear them till they're all independent, and then I'm going to trim them just off and clean that right up. So I'm just going to put all of these little wires here, trim it off, and then when you do that to all your bushes, you get like a nice little cluster here. So this is all going to be our filler. And this filler has what we call a filler flower and a greenery together. So the nice thing is you kind of get 2 in 1 when you use a piece like this. So we're going to use what we call a zigzag technique to kind of get even spacing. And it works on the principle of triangles like we would teach in design school. So when you put one in, you zigzag, you go from the out and in, and you keep spacing them apart. So I've got my first piece in. Now here comes my next one, so I'm going to zigzag it to the inside. So in design school, not only am I going to teach you like how to put things in that recipe, but you're going to learn skills that you can take and use in other projects. With just a little practice, you can implement them into any project you do. All right, we're going to go back out to the outside. And this piece is a little longer, so that works great going to the outside. So sometimes you want to take your bushes and just separate them out. All right, come in here. We're going to go behind. And isn't it fun how quickly it comes together when you've got gorgeous supplies? I mean, it comes together. So save your a little bit longer pieces for the outside. Use your smaller pieces for the inside. So I'm going to zigzag this one right here. It's going to kind of do something we call break the plane, and that means it's going to overlap a little against this main flower. I'm totally okay with that. I like that type of look. I want things to not feel like they're put in. I want them to feel like they grew in there and they're fighting for their space in the design. I love that kind of look. All right, so we've got the fern here, so I'm going to come down a little bit lower, and we're going to go right in here to the side of the wreath, and look, oh my gosh. So it's layering in beautifully with the other greenery. With the fern, the filler, the combo is perfect. Here comes another piece, and we're going to zigzag back to the middle. And I'm loading it with my glue. Just hold it like a pencil. Come on in. We want to push it down into the grapevine. And like move that over a little. Oh, yes. You see how rich and full it's getting? I love that. All right, we're getting ready to transition, and that means we're going to shift direction, and we're going to have everybody start pointing downward. So you're going to take your pieces that are a little bit longer. We're going to start on the outside here. We finished on the inside, so we'll go to the outside. And the main change we're going to do is we're going to flip it the other way. Okay, so in order to keep your lines really clean, you have to have that good transition. Y'all, I'm here for you though. Don't let this video overwhelm you. When you're ready to make this kit, it'll be right here. You can come back and watch it. And then if you want to take your designing skills to the next level, you know I'm there for you in design school each week, ready to teach you. And so many of our students just enjoy the peace and relaxation they get from floral designing for themselves, and then others want to take it and learn to sell. And we've got that support for you too also. When you're ready to learn to sell, we have CoachKeleas.com where you can learn to sell your pieces and maximize your social media and your Etsy, all the things. I love it. I love that I can be there to support you. So we were to the inside, we're going to come back to the outside and come a little bit lower. So I'm going to use one that had a longer stem, and we're going to come down to the bottom. You are going to make yourself a lush, gorgeous wreath. Not a wreath like you just see at the big box stores or at the home decor stores. You could get a lush, full wreath like this. And you actually might love making it. You can get a couple of kits and have a girls' night out with some friends. And y'all can all make your own. And you know what? You can take inspiration from what I'm showing you here, but you could totally come in and design your own style. Like y'all could freestyle. You'd have your basic pattern, but you can freestyle. And design school students do that all the time. They take my inspiration and they turn it into their own. All right, I've got 2 pieces left. I'm going to come back to the inside, and then I've got 1 more for the outside. So just make sure wherever you're putting them, you're covering up your glue so we don't see any mechanics. Man, I love it. And then we're going to take this little piece, and I'm going to use it right on the end. Come over a little bit right here, and we're going to pop it to the outside. So that really filled it in and made it look lush and full. I love our sunflowers we put in the middle. That worked great at the transition. Now, if you're wanting to, like you're more of a bow person, we could just spread this out a little bit, leave a little more room in the middle, and then you could put a nice neutral bow in here. This kit just comes with the supplies you see here, but if you want a bow in there, just head over to Keleas.com too and add on a roll of some type of neutral ribbon, like a jute. Ooh, a window pane mesh ribbon would be beautiful in there. You can pop that in also. Now we saved a little bit of our Phoenix tail fern, and we're going to put some of this in. And I want to separate it out into some smaller pieces. So we're going to use this as like final touches, and these are going to come back to the foreground of the design. Another thing I teach in design school. So these are in the background, but I love to bring that back for a kind of a cohesive look and a nice texture. So we're going to break these into half and then trim the end stem down to about 1 inch, and I'll save that wire. That's a good one. So let's do that for both of these, and that's going to give us 4 pieces because we've saved 2 of these from the beginning. You don't have to do this, but I always think it gives it just such a nice fluid look. So we're going to go in between where we have the Phoenix tail fern in the background, and we're going to have these come out in the foreground. So we've got 2 here. So this one, and those kind of work to the outside. So we're going to work this one to the inside in the foreground. It's a shorter piece, and I'm also going to curve it in the direction of my design. So I'm coming in right here. I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to pop this in. I love that. Just go in there, buddy. Go down. Yeah, nice, nice, nice. I want to feel it go in tightly. Pretty. And that just kind of comes in there and adds that to the foreground. I love that. That's so pretty. Okay, now let's see what else we've got. This is a bigger one. So this bigger one, I know I want to use between these. Another thing you need to think about is I've got this line working along the outside right now. I'm going to try to shoot between it to kind of bring the eye fluidly around, but I'm gonna have it a little bit shorter. So I'm gonna trim this one down just a little bit more. I took about ½ an inch off. Now this one needs to swoop this way. So this kind of curvation that we've got going, I just made up that word, is not gonna work. So I've got to take and curve it to where they all go this way. I'm making up my own words today, but I feel like it was appropriate. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's go in here. Foreground. So I'm gonna layer it on top, and we're gonna try to push it deep into the wreath. I want to feel it go in, and then I want it to kind of curve up. Right. Oh my gosh, such nice movement. Such nice movement. All right, we've got this space in between these two right here. So let's use this one on the outside. I'm gonna curve it up and over, and you can see I'm gonna put it above the transition, so the curve needs to follow. Okay, so every time you're putting a piece in, you're thinking about that. This is one of our most beautiful kits. Usually our kits are pretty simple, but I decided we needed one just a little bit higher level. That's really not higher level, but it looks it when you get done. Oh my goodness. So pretty. All right, finally our last piece. It's a beautiful wispy one here. You see the movement? That is what this top layer is creating. Creating tons of movement. Tons of movement. All right, let's go in the top layer. Now I'm gonna have this one scoop into the middle here. So we're gonna put it below. So it's gonna curve above the transition and pop this way. And I kind of wanted to kiss that other one we had put in. So everybody's got to curve this way, okay? So I think about my spacing and my curve when I'm putting it in. All right, come on in. You my last pick. Let's get in there. Get in there. Oh my gosh, nailed it. Nailed it. Now let's just double check that no leaves are backwards. That's a big pet peeve of mine. Make sure we have the leaves facing forward. Get any little glue strings. And you can grab a wire to make a hanger for yours if you want to put a wire hanger on. Or because it's your own wreath, you could go no hanger, whatever you want. But check it out. Gorgeous. This turned out amazing.